I don't know what it is. It might be my... Okay. Hey, I'm Cynthia Spitalny, Marketing Executive in Tech.
I'm Rachel Swanson. I'm a customer insights expert, and we're both members of the board.
Yeah, welcome to Cracking the Code on B2B Marketing. The reason why we are excited to talk about this, and both of us from different worlds for that matter, me from more from health tech and you from fashion and wellness. I don't want to speak for you, Rachel, but is that we both use the same type of playbook. And so essentially, we use this content to create, or we use proprietary research to anchor to rich content that can be used in short or long form and then distributed across marketing tactics for like a really efficient marketing strategy. It becomes a carrot for demand gen leads. It elevates your thought leadership. It becomes business proof points and sales materials. So Rachel, I know you've executed use cases like I'm referring to. What are some of those use cases for B2B orgs that have used proprietary research to fuel content creation?
Sure. So a lot of my career was spent on the media side, crafting and refining go-to-market positioning and messaging. And so that's when I really started to understand the power of doing custom insights for a B2B audience, essentially, in ad sales. I was a Condé Nast for a decade. So having your own data in that environment is such a point of differentiation because you never know when it could move the needle and just resonate with that potential buyer. So refine and go to market is a great place to start with insights on the B2B side. Another area where I see a lot of this is with agencies. And, oftentimes people wonder, well, why would an insights person be brought in to help an agency? Don't they have a whole strategy team? Yes, but their strategy team is dedicated to client business, not to the marketing component. So when you see a white paper or a state of the state of a category, that's kind of a gift of information that people might not be able to get elsewhere. And again, it's a lead gen magnet, a more top of funnel to get people into your fold. And so I've done that with some large digital agencies. An example is like trends in shopping, right? And so I've done a multi-year study with a large agency to release, COVID, post-COVID, post-COVID research that really helps their partners understand the mindset of consumers. And I know, Cynthia, you've done a ton of this as well in the healthcare, health tech space. What are some of the tips for getting buy-in? Because market research or insights or proprietary insights, however we want to call it, is not always top of mind in the B2B space. So how can you help get buy-in, especially if this is your first time kind of going down this path?
Yeah, I have three main ways that I've done it, and I've maneuvered it with my leadership teams. One is really bridging the gap from insights to impact. What I mean by that is explaining or showing how using this content essentially drives potential MQLs, marketing qualified leads. For those of you who don't know the acronym, that's the precursor to getting sales essentially. And so using the content in programs where you're driving lead gen, that can be with publishers, that can be in a webinar that you're hosting, can be a webinar or a conference. But the main point being that it's driving those MQLs, those leads from those programs, and is a quantifiable output for your organization. Second would just be around thought leadership, talking to your leadership team about the importance of thought leadership. I think we all kind of know the importance of it these days in terms of, brands elevating themselves, even senior leaders elevating themselves, using the research really as an opportunity to elevate the brand to be seen as a leader in the category, getting visibility ROI and credibility ROI, like those things. You can't pay enough to get that type of credibility and visibility. The third is just PR for brand visibility. So when you do these right, and I love the examples you gave, like when you do these right and you choose newsworthy topics, your research becomes your earned media. And so you get to put it out over the wire and get it distributed to all different types of platforms. It's hundreds of millions of impressions, can be. And so those three pieces for me are the ways that I have validated it with my leadership team.
100%. And just to add on that as well, I'm working with a big tech organization right now. They're PR persons on our core team because CES is around the corner, and we're putting out a big piece of research that's not only going to fuel brand development and fuel sales, but also fuel the PR story for the first half of the year. And so we're literally mapping research objectives to PR objectives and different narratives to have, again, data that no one else has
Yeah,
about this sector, which is really a gift, right? It's a gift for people.
yeah, super smart.
So I guess if in kind of conclusion, with a few more minutes left, what are your top tips for how to lay a really successful foundation for doing primary insights work for B2B?
Yeah, two main ones really. One is just around planning. For those of you who have never done something like this before and it's your first time doing it, you want to have robust anchor content. It doesn't have to be perfect. Better is always done than perfect, but making sure that, for example, if you follow the typical fiscal year, and so your selling season is from like March until September-ish, you want to make sure that you wrap up your research, end of December, early January, somewhere in that time frame, so that you can use those insights in the programs that you're executing to drive leads or PR. So that's my first tip. The second tip is just taking that unbranded approach that you mentioned. I've done the same in healthcare, where you really want to hone in on what is your buyer's challenge, like what questions do they have that are unanswered, what things that are, what market trends are happening in your space that could help validate for your customer why you are a solution for them, still taking an unbranded approach. I did one with vaccines as a for example. It's like really clinical with vaccines. And it just helped blow open the doors with a very big pharma company who's rooted in vaccines. And we just did, coming off COVID, we just did a short study, 10 questions, didn't make it specific to any brand. And it was a game changer for my sales team. How about you,
Absolutely.
Rachel?
Yeah, no, I've found that sometimes, especially in B2B, there can be kind of a perspective that things have to be so buttoned up and dry. But I think, to your point, an unbranded approach, and there's no real risk in being the cocktail party chatter, right? What are people in your industry and in your networks talking about? Like, what's the hot buzz? How can you put out something new in that space and back into telling your brand story? Right? Because again, it's like, I like to say, it's being altruistic with the content, right? What is the industry talking about? How can you integrate your point of view? And then the second thing also is it's never one and done. So of course, there's always going to be a big release, whether it's time to fiscal, whether it's time to a speaking engagement, and it's the kind of leave behind or the send out after. But that doesn't have to be it. There can be a really long drip of content broken out, obviously, across channels. We could have a whole conversation about B2B social, which we'll spare for another time. But yeah, just having that great timing and remembering that it's not one and done, and that for anything to get traction, it needs more than just, one blast, one email, one mention. So to just try new things and keep at it.
Yeah, 1000%. It was so great to connect with you, Rachel. For anyone,
Totally. Let's get on more B2B research, and both
yeah,
of us are available. Both of us are available at the board to talk more about how to leverage B2B insights for your industry.